Hello, hello. You already know me for my very intense relationship with Logan, spiky yet soft hair, and brown complexion. But for those of you who don't know me, hello, I'm Apollo Green. Beneath all this captivating caramel coloring is a brain. A less functioning one, but a brain nonetheless. Over the last couple of weeks, these two brain cells of mine were tasked with creating a piece of media to represent the American dream and the status of it. So that is what I'm going to do. I've decided to split this video into two distinct parts: what the American dream is and all its variations, and how, no matter what variation you believe in, it all has the same issue. With all that being said, I said that we stop wasting time and start the project, yeah? If you ask me, the American dream is not one thing. It's a collection of ideas which varies from person to person. If you were to ask random people on the street what they believe the American dream was, you would most likely get a varied number of answers. There's no widely agreed upon idea of the American dream. If you would ask someone born and raised here in America, they might say something like a 2-story, 4-bedroom house, white picket fence, 2.5 kids, and a golden retriever. If you ask an immigrant, maybe one from a Latin country, they might say moving here with your family and surviving off anything and everything to create a living for you and the family you brought in this new place. If you would ask a rich person, they might say a place where they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, with the achievements that they made during their life. Hey, if you ask someone from the past, you might get an answer similar to manifest destiny, which is the idea that America is God's chosen country and everything is theirs, for those of you that slept through history class. The American dream is not one concrete thing. It changes based on the person's experiences, mindset, or even time frame. Despite all the differences between these variations, they are all correct, as someone's version of the American dream only has to fulfill two criteria: self-improvement and self-actualization. For those of you who aren't in AP Psych, self-actualization is the act of someone working to reach their potential. Due to all the variations, one might think, hey, not all of these fit this checklist, but if you unlock your mind's eye and really think, they all do. A perfect example is Manifest Destinies back during the 1800s. They might not seem like it fits, but it really was just a way for people to expand west and try to create better lives for themselves. You see that? If you see your brain enough, you can stretch any answer to fit any problem. To wrap up this section to make sure the video isn't 20 minutes long, the American dream requires your experience and mindset to define itself, as it is a self-made construct, but they all have two things in common: self-improvement and self-actualization. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty, the meat and potatoes of this dreamy pot pie. There was something that I didn't tell you about, old sport. A secret, less fun criteria that reflects the sad and sorry state of the American dream. This mystery criteria is that none of the variations are equal for everyone. Depending on your social status, you are more or less likely to achieve the American dream. Let's take the version of the American dream that most people know: the white picket fence, beautiful wife, stable job, and 2.5 kids. A perfect example of the disparity of this version of the American dream can be seen in the American novel The Great Gatsby, where we see the economically poor living in the dumps and the rich enjoying their mansions. The rich can do whatever they want, whenever they want, and can more easily achieve this version of the American dream due to their financial leniency, while the poor fight tooth and nail every day just to get by. The poor don't have the time nor the leniency to search for a good job, get the beautiful wife, raise 2.5 kids, or get a dog. You can listen to the description of the eggs, which is the homes of the rich, and the Valley of Ashes, which is the home of the poor, and you can clearly see the discrepancy. I shall show you the quotes now. With these descriptions of the lustrous eggs and the bone-chilling Valley of Ashes, we can see the differences between the classes and how it's not equal for everyone. But that is just one of the variations. Next, we will tackle the immigration dream. The immigration dream might at first seem fair, but the story changes when you think about the economic factor. Immigrants that have money have an easier time as they have funds to start on. They have the funds so that they don't have to be smuggled in, which means that they aren't illegal, so they don't have to worry about deportation, and can access better jobs with better pay. Not to mention, racism still exists in America, It's not as bad as it once was, but it still exists, and some races have it worse than others, so immigrants can have a hard time depending on their race alone. These flaws are apparent in both the Southern Poverty Law Center's hate map, which has all the hate groups and their locations that are currently established on it, and America, which is a song from the musical West Side Heights about immigrants from Puerto Rico living in America. Might I just add, there is an alarming amount of hate groups that still operate to this day, and you'd be surprised the range of these and where. These people will hate anything. There are a surprising amount of hate groups in the Northeast, and these range from hating the government to hating black people to just hating. I swear, these people be getting up an hour early just to hate. Hate groups are also so interesting because most of the people there are there off upbringing. They hate these people or things just because they were told to. It's very intriguing. Oh, and on one final note before we move on to the closing section of this project, America is an absolute banger. It has no right slapping as hard as it does. Also, America is also an interesting song since it gives more insight into the immigrants' mindset about America. It's hard for born Americans to envision and understand their mindset since they've never been in a situation even remotely close to it. Okay, now that I've gotten all that off my chest, let's wrap this up. Today, if you were paying any semblance of attention, you learned just how fickle and complex the American dream is. It is not one thing, but a variety of things changed and morphed due to somebody's experiences and mindset. Despite the variety, all dreams contain the same three principles: self improvement, self actualization, and unfairness. Something we have failed to consider yet is that not everyone has an American dream, or any version of it. Some people might just not like the country. From the stigma to the law enforcement to the violence, it could be any number of reasons why they wouldn't like the country itself. Meaning, having an American dream would seem weird and off putting to them. Or, there's people in countries that aren't doing the best, but they love the life they have, even when they have so little. So it will be unfair to consider and say that yeah, everyone has an American dream when that's just not true. You can even find inborn Americans that don't have an American dream. Not because they hate the country or anything like that, they are just indifferent. American dreams, the concept is often for those who either A, has the time to think about it, B, has the chance to think about it, or C, they care enough about the country to want to better itself and themselves. Either way, it's something very important to consider when talking about the American dream. All right, let's wrap this up. All right, that's enough rambling for me. Thank you all for watching my critically acclaimed 87% on Rotten Tomatoes Oscar winning video. And once again, please give me a good grade. I don't want to fail.